What's up, guys? Welcome to On the Table Podcast. On the Table Podcast was inspired by conversations while on the table over at Built Body Works. We've talked about business, careers, successes, failures, and I wanted a platform for them to share their stories with you. So with that, I want to welcome Shane. Thanks for coming, dude.
Yeah, stoked.
Shane is my financial advisor. I've worked with you for, it's been a couple years now, 2-3 years.
It's been like,
Yeah.
3 or 4 probably.
Jeez, that's wild.
Yeah.
So I really want to dive in with Shane on kind of some of his tips and advices for financial planning, because I think that's helped us a ton, me and Lexi. And then I think you and I have connected a little bit too on as far as your fitness and health journey. And I think that you've taken another new venture with that as well, which I'm excited to get into. But other than that, dude, thanks for being here. Yeah, first things first, I mean, what got you into financial planning, and where did it all start?
Yeah, so crazy. Dude, been super excited to actually share with you the fitness stuff. We haven't talked that much.
I know.
I started. But anyways, financial planning. I was 14 years old.
Oh yeah.
So we'll go back
I remember this.
I've shared this with you a little bit.
Was this before or after you lived in California? Because I remember you lived there for a second, and was that part of it?
Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, like mainly growing up in Lehigh.
Okay.
Do you remember I shared a while ago that Aston Martin on Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's part of this.
Okay.
So 14 years old, one of our neighbors was a financial advisor.
Got it.
And he always drove nice cars, BMW, Mercedes, Escalade. And I'm like, who is this guy? What does he do? His name's Ryan. I'm like, I want to be like Ryan. He's a stud. Always dress sharp. Talk to my dad. I'm like, hey, what does Ryan do for work? He's like, he's a financial advisor. He's actually my financial advisor.
Oh, no way.
Oh, heck yeah. I want to make a lot of money. I'll be a financial advisor.
And I want to drive those cars.
And I want to drive. A dream car was an Aston Martin.
Oh, I love it.
I want to drive an Aston Martin.
Side note, do you know who has an Aston Martin?
No.
Tom Brady.
See?
Yeah. You got it. You're right on.
Cars.
Go ahead.
See,
Sorry.
the Aston Martin, we'll talk about that for a minute.
No.
It's not super flashy. That's what I like about it.
They're sleek though.
They're sleek. They're super fast. When we test drove that one in Vegas, I peeled out like the whole parking lot. It's crazy. Like they're killer.
Easy to handle though?
Oh, great.
Oh, I love it.
But they're not like super flashy like a Lambo.
Yeah,
so
true.
Kind of like where that came from. But so I'm like, I want to drive an Aston Martin. I want to have a ton of money, whatever. Like everything totally started superficially for me.
Totally.
Fast forward, started working at Wells Fargo Bank, hated it there.
I remember that. Okay.
Just horrible. It was right. Like, I don't know if anybody remembers like the fake account scandal. Like Wells Fargo was just sued. Like people were basically opening accounts, bank accounts, checking accounts for people that didn't even know they had those new accounts open.
Oh, geez.
So they were paying these bonuses, and it was like there's one grandma there, really sad situation. Somebody that worked there, grandma, her grandkids would come in, visit us, like we knew all her grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she got in trouble. She was forging customer signatures on all their credit card applications. And here's the funny thing, like side note, if you're going to commit fraud, don't sign your name to it. She was signing her own signature.
Tip of the day.
Yeah, tip of the day, don't sign your name on any fraud. She was signing her own signature on like all these like hundreds of credit card applications.
Jeez.
I'm like, just like throw a smiley face on there or signature. Like if you're going to do it, forge their signature or something. So really gnarly, but that's one of the things that Wells Fargo is like, that like bonuses were so pushed, like this like commission, sell.
Okay.
You know, whether the customer needs it or not. And so two good things that came out of Wells Fargo for me. Just kind of started my career, got me my investment licenses, things like that. And I wanted to get into financial planning, so it was good. Met my wife there. Wouldn't have met my wife otherwise. She's the best. So I meet her there. Soon after, we started dating. Like you couldn't date coworkers, whatever. So she was going to go to nursing school anyway. She quit.
You're like, I'm out too.
Yeah, like I'll peace out too. So I go to Northwestern Mutual. Been there now 10 years.
That's right. Okay.
But initially, it was like all 100% superficial for me.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking about this, I want to share like a little bit for younger guys. Like you asked the question before,
Yeah.
what advice do you have for you know, people younger in their 20s, maybe starting financial planning.
Totally.
Maybe we spread that conversation a little bit to like younger guys thinking about like their career and what drives them to grow. And I think people all the time talk about like, what's your why?
Mm-hmm.
For me, my why when I started financial planning, building that business, I'm like, I want to drive an Aston Martin.
Right.
Like, that was it, you know? But it was all built from like, really like my goal for the Aston Martin was not when I can afford it, but when that business got to a certain size.
Okay.
And that size, basically how I benchmark that is $1 million of annual revenue, recurring revenue into that financial planning business. So looking at that, I'm like, once I hit that, I'll buy the Aston Martin. Right. And that was like from day one, you know, my focus. I'm 23 years old at the time.
You got your numbers down?
Got my numbers down. After that first year, I think I made like 32,000. I'm like, I'm pretty close to $1 million.
I love it.
Right. But it kept me pushing. I almost quit like every other day.
Really?
Every other day.
We'll talk about that for a second. Like what was it that maybe the success just wasn't coming quick enough? I mean, I think that's a thing for most people, right?
No doubt.
Yeah. Okay.
So a couple things I think is, yeah, the success wasn't coming quick enough. I'm like, $1 million is my benchmark, you know?
Yeah.
And I do 32,000. You know, think about like people I was working with at the time. A lot of my clients at that point were younger.
Mm-hmm.
But it was exciting to me because I'm like, hey, I'm building something.
Yes.
You know, contrary to Wells Fargo, is like I'm selling people stuff. Is like I always felt like I was honest, not like signing my signature on people's credit card applications. But like I didn't have like real meaning there. So I go over, now I'm working with clients and I'm helping them save money for the future, helping them protect their families with life insurance, different things. I'm like, okay, this is actually
while building your own.
While building my own.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I love it.
Exactly. Right. Like I cared about these clients.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The hard thing is, I think starting into that industry, there's a lot of, I think any industry, crappy people, right?
Yeah, right.
They don't care about their customer or client. They care about like the profitability of it. They're not really seeing that long-term vision. So they don't care about people.
Just all personal gain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think their biggest challenge I had initially was, one, people are super skeptical when they first talk with a financial advisor. They're like, was this guy going to sell me? Is it really in my best interest? Two,
me and Lexi thought that for just a second because we were getting ready to get into a house and everything. And I'm like,
oh yeah.
I'm like, let's meet with Shane, but I don't know how we're going to do this. And honestly, the dude made it work. And in fact, it helped us get into a house, honestly, because we had saved some money with you to help with the down payment on our home.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Right? Yeah. So don't be skeptical.
Yeah.
Meet with these people. Meet with this guy.
We can help.
Absolutely. Okay. Go ahead.
No, man, that's good. Sorry if I'm just taking the stage.
No. You're good. I want to fill in on that.
Right. So super skeptical people because of past experiences.
Yeah.
But then two, I think for me, it was like how a financial planning business is built is based on how much your clients have with you that you manage. Right. So when I'm 23, I've got somebody saving $50 a month into a Roth IRA, you know, like financial advisors, like industry average is 1% annual management fee. And then the advisor gets paid a percentage of that.
Okay.
So it's like after one whole year of funding a Roth IRA at $50 a month, there's $600 in there, plus maybe a little bit of market gain. You know, 1% on $600 is $6. I get paid half of that, you know?
Wow. Okay.
So I'm like, wow, this is going to take a really long time to get to $1 million. But yeah, so then I almost quit. Like I remember one time talking to my dad, he called me. My office in Provo. I was up at that Vasa off Redwood and 7800. It's like,
like West Jordan?
Somewhere up there, West Jordan, West Valley, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. It's like an hour away from my office. I don't remember why I was there, but my dad called. He's like, what's up, man? What you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm at the gym. And he's like, why are you at the gym? It's Wednesday at 2:30. I'm like, oh, I quit.
No way.
Yeah, and he's like, you quit? What do you mean?
Go straight to the gym.
Yeah. Like,
I love it. Good.
I don't even know why I was up at that gym an hour away from the office. But he's like, you quit? And I'm like, yeah, I'm done. He's like, what are you going to do? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I haven't got there yet. He's like, well, maybe you should go back to the office. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do that anymore. He's like, well, then you better go find a job. You shouldn't be at the gym.
Yeah.
Like, start thinking, I'm like, all right. So I go shower. I'm like, okay, I don't quit. I go back to the office and it's
what a good dad.
What a good dad. Right?
What a good dad.
It's like 4:30 now in the afternoon.
Okay.
I drive all the way down to the office, sit there for a minute, accomplish zero. But I think about it, I'm like, what do I want to do, right? And I'm like, well, freak, I want to get to that benchmark that I promised myself I would, right? So I go home, decide, okay, I'm not going to quit, show back up the next day, and it's just like grind, right? And I think initially, like for all the younger guys starting out in their career, I would say like 100% okay to have these outside driving forces of, you know, the Aston Martin or whatever.
Absolutely.
Because when you're 23 and you're starting your career, like everybody's going to start in a different spot, you know. But for me, it was like wealth. I just want to build this business, be wealthy. And that was it. You know, I think that's okay. That's going to transition over time.
Right.
So that's kind of how I got into financial planning. Super long story. Since then, businesses continue to grow. And now, you know, run a great business. And
thank goodness for dad.
Thank goodness for dads.
Yeah. I just have to hit on that for a second, though. I think that is super normal. And I want people to know that you're going to have days that you want to quit. I can totally relate to that. When I first started it, I remember jumping out into my own business with the whole sports massage stuff and telling Lexi, like, I don't know how much longer I can do this. I don't know if this is going to work. And I just feel like at some point, and I think it's reoccurring at some points, but there's that switch in you that's like, no, this is it. We're going to do this, you know? And I don't know, you have to find success, but you have to build it. 100%. You have to create it, you know? So that's awesome. As far as, people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, would you give the same advice to anybody trying to financially plan? Or is there maybe a difference in the earlier stages of financial planning?
Yeah, good question. I think early on, it is just kind of creating the habits.
Okay.
You know, I just kind of put in perspective. I have a lot of clients that are self-employed, entrepreneurial, business owners, kind of worked out that way.
Yeah.
But if somebody's just saying, okay, I'm just going to save money from the time I'm 20 until I'm 60.
Okay.
Right. And I want $1 million. We'll just use that as a benchmark.
Okay.
When you start when you're 20, you probably need to save like $100 a month. You've got a ton of time for that money to grow and compound on itself. Most of the time people don't start that early because they're like, retirement's like way down the road. I got other things on my mind. Right. And that's fine. In your 30s, you probably need to save like $500 a month.
Okay.
In your 40s, 50s, it's like you're probably not honestly retiring when you want to.
Right.
If you've waited too long, you need to save like 40% of your income at that point.
Wow.
If you want to be on track to like fully retire. And typically people just kind of built up their lifestyle to where it doesn't allow for that.
True.
You know, it's like, am I going to tell somebody, hey, you got to go sell your boat and your razor and your toy hauler and downsize your house so that you can retire? Like sometimes, like that's the math, but they're not going to do that.
Totally.
You know?
Totally.
So the advice really, like we build out analysis and projections, kind of customize it. I think
I do like
people need something that's specific to them. Like the biggest frustration, irritation I have, like both in fitness, finance, like everything is that people think that like one size fits all. Here's
cookie cutter.
Exactly. Yeah. Like there's some financial gurus people have heard about, like drop the name Dave Ramsey. Everybody's this one. But he gives just a blanket recommendation to everybody in the United States.
Right.
His recommendations are pay off debt, save money in a Roth IRA. Like that's literally where he ends. The issue with that is average household income in the United States is like $55,000.
Wow.
Okay. Like making $55,000 when you're starting out in your career, it's a good start. But you can't do anything with a family on $55,000. Right. So that's his kind of blanket recommendation. The recommendation has to change as people evolve.
Absolutely.
And that's the issue. So
no, I agree with that. I've not to cut it Dave Ramsey, but I do feel like, times are changing, things are changing. And I feel like you kind of have to get with the program, you know, and I no cut at what he's teaching people. And I think maybe it's a great start, but I definitely think you have to go further with your personal finances. And that is what I really like. And I think that applies really to any industry is everybody's different. Everybody's situation is different. and you have to learn how to work with that,
No doubt.
you know? So that's cool. All right, man. I want to transition a little bit.
Yeah, I want to transition.
Thank you for the tips. He's
Talk
hyped.
fitness.
He's hyped. So first off, giving a little shout out to Jeff, our coach at one point. I think we really connected there because we were at least working with a similar program. Again, completely customized programs, but working with Jeff, and he's been awesome. Teaching me just like how to eat, what to eat. I don't know, all the above. He's a really good dude. But going into kind of your fitness journey and where you're at now, because I think it started more so, gained a little bit more of a start from there, and now you're driving it home, dude. That's all I see, and I love it. So tell me a little bit about the beginning to what you're doing now.
Yeah, we're going super, super hard. So,
Okay.
yeah, dude, we haven't talked.
I know.
Like,
It's been just a little
since
bit.
this.
I think the last time I saw you, I think you had just finished your program with Jeff. And so, we haven't talked much since you've dove into what you're doing now.
Yeah, dude, that was like October last year.
No, has it been that
October,
long?
November. Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay.
So, so I'm driving down the street. So I've always been like personal development, always been huge for me.
Absolutely.
Right. Because I believe like your level of success is never going to exceed your level of personal development.
I love that quote.
100% agree. Right. So as I'm going through life, I'm like, okay, start financial planning, make 32 grand. I'm like, okay, I'm freaking broke. Right. Like keep going. And my mindset kind of shifted, from like wanting to make $1 million and buying the Aston Martin to how can I build this business? Well, how am I going to build the business? Through providing value to my clients, taking care of them, helping them accomplish their goals. And by default, I'm going to accomplish mine. Right?
Totally.
And so business really starting to grow. This was April 2022, last year, I guess.
Yeah.
So March maybe. But we just barely bought a new house. Business, I'm like, felt like I still got a ton of progress, but I feel like we're crushing it.
Okay.
Like business is great. Just bought this new big house, like feeling good. Just ordered a new razor, bought a toy hauler, and I'm just like thinking I'm like
cruising
the shiz, right?
Yeah.
I'm early in the morning driving to the gym, listening to a podcast, and this dude in the podcast. Well, side note, one thing that I've always preached is faith, fitness, family, finance are the 4 things we need to focus on. If you're not winning in one of those areas, you're not going to fully, truly win in the other.
Okay.
Right? I'm like, really believe that. Ed Milet.
Yes, absolutely.
Guy?
Yeah.
Okay. He talked about that. I'm sure he still does, but years ago, like I just kind of grabbed onto that and just held it forever.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, like finance, business, crushing it. Like feel like I'm an okay dad, but I know there's different things in my life. Like I want to be better.
Work on.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm listening to this podcast and the guy says the most common man is a man that's consistent with 0 results. And I'm
Interesting.
like, holy crap. Like I go to the gym every single day. Why am I not jacked, shredded? Like what is going on?
I remember talking about this.
Did we talk about this?
Yeah.
I'm like, holy crap. And so one thing I don't think I mentioned to you is maybe the day of or day after I listened to that particular podcast, I came in and you had worked on my shoulder a little bit.
Okay.
And you're like, dude, I hired Jeff. And I was thinking about hiring Jeff.
No way.
I'm like, I need to hire Jeff. Right.
Okay.
And you're like, yeah, I hired Jeff. And I'm like, holy cow, I'm going to hire Jeff. I walked out of that.
Did you really?
I walked out of that with you.
I didn't know that.
I texted Jeff. I should have followed up with
Oh, that's cool.
I texted Jeff. I'm like, hey, we need to set up a time to talk. I want to hire you.
That's cool.
I'm just like ready to go. Cause I'm like, all these things are lining up and I'm just like, Brance did it, I'll do it. Right.
I love it. I love it.
Like total turning point in my life, honestly. Like really dialed in, like, what do I want? What am I trying to accomplish? And then on the fitness side, like, what am I missing? Right.
Yeah.
So I think like the purpose of a coach really is to dissect your life, put it back together for you.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, kind of identify these blind spots. Right. And there's things that you just don't know to look for.
True.
Okay? A couple of those things are going to be hormones. A couple of those things, like I was always consistent going to the gym and I felt like I worked out hard, but I didn't work out properly.
Right.
Right. Like there's a difference between stimulating the muscle and moving weight.
Right.
Massive
Absolutely.
difference. Right.
Absolutely.
I would track my macros a little bit on my Fitness Pal. Thought I was doing a good job. The app tracked them or calculated the macros, told me what I should do based on my goal, which is never accurate, by the way. Same thing.
Not very customized, no.
Right. But I'd follow that, but then it'd be like Friday night Handel's ice cream with my wife. We get that like, the 4 sampler thing. It's Handel's. Like loaded with sugar. You eat it at night, like 9 o'clock at night, and then you go sleep on all this sugar.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Just like reverse back all my effort from the week. Right? So ton of education, ton of help, ton of honestly inspiration going through this coaching process with Jeff. Worked with him from April to October, November, something like that.
Yep.
Kept hitting it super hard, lost a ton of body fat, put on a ton of muscle. Actually went from 23% from April to the end of the year. It was 23% body fat, went all the way down to 12.5.
Nice.
But I went up from 195 to 203. So I went up 8 pounds.
Gain muscle, lose fat.
Huge, right?
Cool.
And it's education, consistency, and, sticking to a plan. So then I'm talking to my buddy and I'm like, okay, where am I failing in my life now? Like finance, good. Fitness, coming together. Like, what else is it? I'm like, family. I want to be a better dad.
Way cool.
So I'm talking to my buddy and actually hired my buddy who, his name is Jordan.
Okay.
Jordan does fitness nutrition coaching. He started the brand, The Stoic Dad.
I was just going to ask that. Okay.
Who I partnered in with.
Okay.
And I'm like, dude, I want to hire you. I didn't really feel like I was hiring for the fitness stuff, but he does fitness nutrition coaching.
Especially for dads? Is that correct? Okay, cool.
For dads. And so from there, I'm like, dude, I kind of know like the fitness side, but I want more discipline. Stoicism, Brent, do you know Stoic?
A little bit. No, go ahead. Give me more of a definition.
I'd heard of it. Didn't really understand it.
Right.
Everything like I think will resonate with you. It does with me.
Okay.
So the idea of Stoicism, like ancient Greek philosophy.
Okay.
The idea with Stoicism is like basically being a good person just for the sake of being a good person. So think about your funeral.
I love it.
You're dead, right? Your family's talking about you. They're like, my dad, this is where my mind goes. Like, do I want my boys? I have 2 boys, they're 7 and 4. My dad, he was so awesome. I remember on Sundays we'd hang out and we'd eat watermelon sours and watch TV. Like a couple years ago, I'd like eat the watermelon sours. My mouth would hurt the next day. Right? Do I want them thinking about that? Or at my funeral, they're like, our dad was so disciplined. He had an impact on the community. When he was home with us, he was present. Like the list goes on and on. I'm like, that's what I want. So that's one concept of Stoicism. Another concept is the idea of basically going through pain, embracing pain without complaining.
Okay, that's what I've heard before.
That's like
I didn't know how to put that into words. Yeah.
The definition, I think, of Stoicism.
Okay,
is that.
Got it.
But there's a lot of different aspects to it. So I partner in with him, or no, let me take a step back. I hire him for about a week. I'm like, Jordan, let me hire you, right? I'm like, that's where I need to focus, right? And then conversation just quickly evolved. It was like, hey, let me coach with you.
Oh, way cool.
Right? And so that was back like early January.
Okay. Beginning of the year.
Yeah, that's when like all of a sudden I became a thing on Instagram.
I know. I saw you posting a lot more. I was like, dang.
Yeah, I think I had like 220 followers on Instagram. I don't know where I'm at now, like 450. I know it's like nothing, but for me,
it's all a start.
We're posting on Instagram.
It's all a start.
That's kind of how we transition into that. Now,
okay.
Like I coach a lot of guys on that. The biggest thing is with that, I think, like guys, 1, don't know what they don't know. 2, they just need accountability and somebody to remind them, like, hey, be a good person, follow your plan.
Dude, that's cool. I was just going to actually say exactly what you just said. Shout out to Jeff and Jordan, right? And now Shane, Coach Shane. I think in hiring any type of coach, business coach, life coach, nutrition coach, you don't know what you don't know.
100%.
There's so much to that. And even like you said, like I feel like you had at least enough of a knowledge of your workout regimen and different things like that, but you get into it. And here's one cool thing with Jeff, and I don't know if this was similar, but he put me on like a 4-day workout regimen, which I mean, with how physical my job is and working with these different teams and stuff, it was perfect. And I got down to like 7% body fat, and I was working out 4 days a week with some HIIT cardio. But I was like, wait a second. I thought I had to be at the gym every day. Like, and dude, obviously it comes down to the food that you're eating and your discipline, your consistency, but you just don't know, man. You don't even know if you're doing it right until you just get dialed in with somebody who can teach you, you know?
Yep.
So that's cool. What would you say are some of as far as maybe teaching more to dads, what are some of the big things that you hit on with your coaching specifically?
So I love that, dude. The funniest thing. So like, I'm going to explain now, like 99% of dads.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
They wake up in the morning. I feel like most guys go to the gym maybe a couple days a week.
Okay.
Right? So some of them, like I do have one coaching client, never been into a gym ever in his
Wow.
life. I was really surprised. He's actually one of the dudes I admire most right now that I'm coaching just because he's so committed to his plan.
Way cool.
But anyways, you wake up in the morning, don't really know what to eat. So you grab like a protein bar.
Yep.
They're loaded with sugars. Maybe is good for before your workout, but you don't really know what you're eating. Go to the gym, you work out. You don't really know what to do after, so you grab a protein shake. Kind of like the go-to.
Yep.
Right? You drink that protein shake. You haven't really planned for your day too much as far as your nutrition's concerned. You go to the office. All the boys are going out to like whatever, you know,
Apollo Burger,
like barbecue, like whatever. Right? So it's like you go eat like whatever. You're like, oh, that looks good on the menu. Boom, I'll have that. You know, it's usually super high in fat, probably fairly low in protein and carbs. Around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you kind of feel like tired, sluggish.
Yep.
Right. So business is going to suffer a little bit because you're not as happy as you could be. You go home. The wife's probably made food for you. That's awesome. You eat whatever she's made. Most likely, that's your best meal of the day because it's actually something prepared.
Home cooked. Yeah.
Home cooked. So you eat that, and then the kids go to bed. You're hanging out in the evening, watching TV,
hungry.
Whatever. Bowl of cereal.
Oh, dude.
I'm
guilty of that.
Okay.
I'm not a dad yet, but I'm guilty of that.
A bowl of cereal is the go-to.
Oh,
right?
dude. It's so good.
Loaded with sugars.
Yep.
And then you sleep on that at night. Right?
Yep.
So what you've done to your body, this is really what I coach to, is what you've done to your body there. You didn't feed it properly in the morning. You have no idea what you're eating. Way too high of fats middle of the day. And then you have a ton of sugar at night. On top of that, most guys think they're eating more calories than they are a lot of the time. I'll talk to people and they're eating like 1,500 calories a day. Like, I need to lose weight. I need to eat less. Right?
Totally.
So I'll give them, I'm like, hey, let's go with 2,200 calories. Right now I'm eating 3,600 calories every day.
Crazy. And your body fat percent is at
8.9 today.
Nice.
We're going down. We're going
okay. Dang.
But so I'll tell them, hey, you need to start. We're going to start you at 2,200 calories, right? And everybody's different. Don't everybody go eat 2,200 calories, but we'll start them at 2,200 as an example. And they're like, oh, dude, I'm going to be so hungry. I don't know how I'm going to do that. Then I'll get a text from them the next day. Like, man, I don't know how I can eat all this protein. Like I'm so full, right? Like I've got one guy, he played football for Utah State.
Oh,
he
heck
listens
yeah.
to this and
absolutely.
he knows I'm talking about him. I'm like, okay, so he's, I wish I could remember his height and weight. I think he's like 3'10", 6'3" or something like that. Like a big dude.
Okay.
Right? Played football, does a ton of CrossFit, like a fit dude, just heavier than he wants to be, right? I put him at 2,700 calories, which like for him is fairly low compared to his body weight. Like you understand calories
Absolutely.
and macros, like that's low for him.
Totally.
He's like texting me, he's like at 2,400. He's like, man, I just can't put down more food. Because he's eating the proper foods now.
Right.
Actually fueling his body rather than just like the thing I say is don't eat to fuel your emotions, eat to fuel your body. Completely different, right?
That's cool.
So I coach to that. You mentioned working out 4 days a week. Jeff would kill me if he heard me say this. I work out every single day.
Okay.
One of the biggest things that I focus on.
But it's different for everybody, right?
Different for everybody. And I don't do it in a stupid way. Like I'm not killing myself every single day. Very strategically stimulate the muscle and feed myself properly, right?
Cool.
So I followed regimen where I kind of have a focus on different muscle groups throughout the week. So I'm never overtraining with how I'm doing it. Very strategic. But I get out of bed every single day at 4 o'clock. Every single day. So people are like, oh, Sundays you sleep in. No, don't even sleep in Sundays.
Discipline.
For a couple reasons. One, discipline. Two, it's a commitment. I feel like there's a decision there. I get up at 4 o'clock every day. It makes it easier for me not to debate with myself. Right? I get up, I do my stuff, I get my shower, whatever. And then I go work out. Gets blood flow going, makes me happy. It's like the best drug in the world.
Yeah, right. All natural.
All 100% natural. Gives me an excuse to take some pre-workout.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. Right. But I work out every single day. And I think for guys, what they need, you asked the question, what do you coach to? Right. There's all this stuff. But one of the biggest things is consistency.
Yep.
Like my wife, maybe last comment I'll make for today is my wife, she loves the 6-pack. Can't keep her hands off me. She'll listen to this. That's what I'm saying.
Good. Shout out, wifey.
Yeah, Ashley. Can't keep her hands off me. Right. That's maybe a little bit egotistical there, but
You're good.
She, I think more than that, appreciates the consistency
Mm-hmm.
and the discipline and that reliability that I've developed. Like you can ask her a couple years ago, it was like snooze, 9 minutes later, alarm goes off, snooze, 9 minutes later.
Yep.
It's like alarm was set for 4, but Shane's rolling out of bed at 6:30.
Right.
It's like, holy crap, what? Now she's either consciously or subconsciously thinking, how do I now carry the family? I have to, like, the worst thing is she like slaps me. Like, get out of bed. The alarm's been going off for 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
It's like, and then I go to the gym. I'm like, feeling good. I got my workout in. And then she calls me, like, or I call her on my way after I'm leaving the gym, heading to the office. And she's like, hey, we need to talk about this morning. And I'm like, crap, another one of these conversations.
Yep.
Right? So I think more than that, like the idea of our Stoic dad coaching is like functional fit fatherhood, fitness, nutrition, discipline, really being that person, that husband, father, man that your family needs.
Mm-hmm.
That discipline consistency is driven through fitness, nutrition, but that's the focus there. So that's what I coach on primarily.
Okay. I love it, dude. Thanks for sharing that. Mention those 4 things again. Do you kind of like live by? Those are your values?
Mention them all day. Faith, family, fitness, finance.
Perfect. Deal. Well, dude, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for sharing your story. I'm stoked to see where you go with it all, with the progress that you've already made. And if any of you dads specifically, need some coaching, anybody?
Future dads.
Future dads, okay.
If you're trying to be a dad.
Shane's your guy. Sweet, man. Thanks for being here, dude.
Thanks, bro.